Hello there, welcome back to another video on this channel, and I have completed my Python tutorial series. So if you haven't watched it, then please go and check it out. The link is in the description. So now in this video I'm gonna start with a new series which is NumPy, and I'm gonna talk about or I'm gonna code things in NumPy, so you will get the idea. And NumPy is basically used in machine learning. It is heavily used in machine learning and neural networks also. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the coding. Now NumPy, as you can see here, NumPy stands for numerical Python, and it is used to do all the numerical operations in a computer. Okay, now let me just open this. In this video, I'm gonna tell you multiple ways that how you can create arrays with NumPy. So in machine learning and in neural networks, arrays, or you can say matrices, are very helpful and they are used very heavily. So we are gonna take a look like how you can create multiple kind of arrays in NumPy. So the first thing is you need to import the module, import NumPy as np. I am just taking it as np. So what I am doing is I am creating an alias of this name as np. Now whenever I need to call a function of numpy, I can just use np dot. And what I am going to do, I am going to create our first array. Let's take np dot array, and I am going to pass here the array values that I want. Let's take 1 comma 2 comma 3. And if now I print the array, and you can see here it is 1 2 3. Now you might think that it is similar as our list, like yes, equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. And if I print, so the difference here is that numpy arrays are very fast because they are stored in a sequential manner, so they are very fast. And the second thing is uh, they just can hold numerical data, as on the other hand list can hold any kind of data like this, and it is okay in list but not in numerical data. But the main advantage is that numpy arrays are very fast, and also if you don't print it, just like type it out, you will see here it will show array. Okay, so this is the first way that you can declare an array. Now you can also create multiple multi-dimensional arrays. So let's take a look. np.array. What I need to do is I need to give, let me just show you. So 1D array are collection of multiple datas together. So you can say that this is a 1D array, one dimensional array. It can have 1, it can have 2, it can have 10, it can have anything like this. So multi-dimensional arrays are those arrays that have more than one dimension. So as you can see here, it has only one dimension. Now you can add more dimension to it. So let's make a 2D array. What I am going to do is I am going to add one more row to this. Now this is a 2D array because it has two dimensions. The first is rows and the second is columns. So it is a two-dimensional array. Now let's just, okay, so for this we need to use two brackets, like 1 comma 2 comma 3 and comma again 4 comma 4 5 comma 6. And now let's just print it out, array. And as you can see here, this is the first row, this is the second row. And to check, let me just show you, to check whether a array is multi-dimensional or how many dimension it has, you can just count the number of these brackets together in the front or in the last. Like it has two brackets together, so it is a two-dimensional array. This is one way that you can create an array using numpy. Okay, so the next way is, now you have to provide here some values. But what if you want to create an array of, let's say, size 4 comma 5, which means it has 4 rows and 5 columns, and you do not want to put any values in it? So how can you do that? Let's take some examples here. Let's take array array1 is equal to np.zeros, and in this here I'm going to pass the size of the array in a tuple. So if you do not know what a tuple is, then please go and check out my videos. Okay, now what I did is I want to create an array who has 4 rows and 5 dimension, 5 columns. Okay, and in all these places it will have 0. Everywhere it will have 0. So this is the idea behind zeros. And let me just give you like, okay, array 1, it is doing this, it is creating a 2D array. One more thing that you can do is, like, you can see in this case it is showing 0 point. It means it is creating a float. I mean that these values are floats. So let's make them integer, and what I can do is I can pass another variable here, like another parameter here, d type is equal to, and I am just gonna use, like, let's say int. And if I print out 1 here, now it doesn't have points, it means they are integers now. So this is the another way. You can also use them here if you want to, let's make it d type is equal to float, and as you can see here, now they are float, earlier they were integers. So this is a helpful thing. Now let's move on to towards another function, array2 np.ones, and here we have to pass the same kind of thing. Let's say this time 2 comma 3, and what it is going to do, as the name suggests, it is going to create a matrix of 2 by 3 with ones in it. So let's just print it out, arr2, and you can see 2 columns, 2 rows and 3 columns with 1. Now let's suppose you do not want, uh, what do you say, arrays of zeros and arrays of ones, but you want an array of a specific number, let's say 10, or let's say 11, let's say 20, anything you want. So there are two ways to do that. The first way would be is to just multiply this ones array to that number, let's say 10. And if I now you can see the result here, it is 10. If you print it by 50, that would be 50, anything you want. The second way, and my preferred way, is to use np dot, and what I'm going to use, and let's take it in an array, in a variable. Now let's use np.full, and what I'm going to pass here, I'm going to pass the size. So let's make 2 comma 3, and I'm going to pass the value that I want to fill in it. So this is 5, and I want to fill 5 in it. So when I will run it, ar3, and as you can see here, 555. Okay, so this was the another function. Okay, so the next thing that I want to tell you is, let's say you want random numbers in your array, and you want random numbers, like, if you are making a neural networks, then you want an array, or you want a matrix in which they have random numbers. Basically we call them as weights. So we want random weights at the starting of the that program, so we can use this function there. Okay, now let's take np.random.random, and what I'm going to do, the same thing, I'm going to pass the values, and let's say 4 comma 5, and as you can see here, 4 columns and 5, or 4 rows and 5 columns. Now the thing is, how did it choose this random number? So it chooses a number between 0 and 1. So as you can see here, all the values are between 0 and 1. So this function does that. Now let's move on towards another function. Okay, let me just rub it. Now the second thing is, let's take array is equal, no, let's do it normally, np.random.rand int. So in this we want to provide a range, let's say 1 to 10. We need to provide it like this. the lower index and the highest index that you want the range inside to choose a random number from. Now we will give the size of the matrix. Let's create it 2 by 3. So what it is going to do, it will create a matrix of 2 by 3 and it will have number from 1 to 9, as 10 is inclusive. Oh, 10 is exclusive and 1 is inclusive. So as you can see here, 116719. So these are random numbers that were chosen between from 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 range. Now one more. Now let's move on towards next function. Let's say np.random.random, and here we need to provide the size of the function, but we do not need to provide the size of the function as a tuple. So what I'm going to do is, let's say 2 comma 3, and it is going to create our array of this size. Now you must be thinking like, why it is so special. So it was created like this, but the thing here is this random. So random function, what it does is that it chooses the random value from a normal distribution. Okay, so it created an array of 2 by 3 in which the values are chosen from normal distribution. Now let's move on towards next function. Let's create np.i, and this function also doesn't take anything like what do we say, it doesn't take the parameters in a tuple or the size in a tuple. So let's make 4 comma 5, and what it does is that let's make 4 comma 4 so you will get the clear idea. So it creates an identity matrix. It means that this line will be ones and everything else will be zero. So this is the I function. And now the last function that I think it is np.arrange. On the top, as we see here, that we wrote 1 2 3, but it could be difficult if we had to write this like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 until 20 or up to 20. So what are we going to do? We are going to give it a range, as the name suggests, a range. So 1 comma 10, and it will generate an array from the lowest value to the highest value exclusive of this number. So guys, these were some methods using which you can generate a numpy array. And believe me guys, numpy arrays or numpy matrices are heavily used in machine learning and neural networks. So I hope that you understood all the concepts here, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.